of the Hindu newspaper. So a general thing that actually goes in our mind with respect to any topic from the newspapers is that it is beyond our comprehension to understand. But what actually lies here is to break this particular topic into an understandable thing by giving you a conceptual clarity and by linking it to the previous year question as well as how can it be tagged to the syllabus of the examination. So this particular topic that has been picked up, it is actually a push for more climate action. So from the topic we can understand that it is relevant for environment and ecology. So here what happens, it actually talks about a recent landmark judgment that has been given by this organization of ITLOS, that actually stands for International Tribunal on Laws of Seas. Okay, so this has actually given a landmark judgment that any kind of emission that actually involves the greenhouse gas is also a part of what is termed as marine pollution, that is actually covered under Article 1 of United Nations Convention on Laws of Seas. So here our takeaway from this particular article is that what is this organization of ITLOS as well as what is this United Nations Convention on Laws of Seas, when it has actually come into existence, and into what 5 major categories it actually divides the ocean or the marine systems. Okay, so here we are discussing about this organization, the Convention of UNCLOS, then the marine pollution that it actually covers, as well as it is an important part of climate change, and this entire topic can be mapped to both the prelims as well as the mains examination. Under prelims, it actually falls under current events of national and international importance, and for the mains exam, it actually falls under GS paper 3, environmental pollution and degradation as well as conservation. So moving forward, any topic we actually pick up has to be mapped to the PYQ. Okay, so if we see in the year 2016, UPSC has actually asked a question in the prelims examination on UNCCD, that is the United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification. So these kind of conventions, what are the decisions that are actually being taken there, whether India is a part of it or not, India's commitment to it, and how India has actually performed over the years in order to achieve the same, and what are the pitfalls that we've actually faced and what are the strategies we need to adopt. All these actually becomes very, very important for your prelims examination as well as the mains examination. So moving forward, now let us understand what this particular article is discussing about. Okay, so in a landmark ruling, the International Tribunal for the Law of Seas, that is the ITLOS, has declared that the greenhouse gas emissions constitute marine pollution under the United Nations Convention on the Laws of Seas. So earlier, Article 1 of the United Nations Convention on Laws of Seas actually included all the substances that caused marine pollution, okay, but it did not have the provision of GHG included there, but this has been included right now by this particular award that has been given by the ITLOS. So now let us actually see what the tribunal had actually concluded. Okay, so the tribunal concluded that the greenhouse gas emissions constitute pollution of the marine environment within the meaning of Article 1 subclause 1 subclause 4 of UNCLOS, and this definition actually includes the introduction of any substances or any kind of energy into the marine environment that actually results in any kind of hazard such as the sea level rise, the warming of the ocean, the acidification as well as the deoxygenation, causing harmful effects on the marine life as well as human health. Okay, so this might actually sound complicated, but in simple terms, in case if actually a vessel is actually traversing the ocean, so in case if it actually results in the emission of GHG, that is the greenhouse gas, here what happens is that if the ocean actually absorbs the amount of carbon which is present in the GHG, that actually increases the acid content. So that results in the ocean acidification, which in turn actually results or hampers in the marine ecosystem. So in that case, that also falls under part of marine pollution, and this is what this particular landmark judgment has actually stated. Okay, so this judgment mandates that in all the countries which are actually parties or signatories of the UN Convention on Laws of Seas must actually take this into consideration in order to act against climate change, in order to protect the marine environment under UNCLOS. So moving forward, what is the takeaway from this particular article for the prelims examination is that we need to understand about this UNCLOS as well as the Tribunal on Laws of Seas. Okay, so here UNCLOS or UNCLOS, also known as the Laws of Seas, actually lays down a comprehensive regime of law or the orders the different countries actually have to follow, okay, for the world's ocean as well as seas. When it has actually come into existence is that it came into existence in 1982 and it actually came into force in the year 1994, that is 12 years later. And small facts, that is statistics like India, whether ratified the convention or not, India was a founding member of a particular organization or not, what is India's contribution to it, and the relationship it actually shares with the other countries who are signatories are very important for the exam. So here UNCLOS divides this marine areas into 5 main zones. One is the internal water. We'll be actually seeing it in the form of a diagram in the next few minutes. Next is the territorial sea, the contiguous zone, the exclusive economic zone, as well as the high seas. Now moving forward, this is actually the diagram I was actually referring to. Here let us see what are the 5 main areas according to which UNCLOS actually categorizes this marine ecosystem. So first one, there is actually a baseline. If you actually see in this diagram, this is nothing but this is the area where the coastal state, that is whichever country is actually part of that place, that coastal state actually officially recognizes a place where there is low water level as the baseline. So this is actually the baseline. So if you see in this particular table, this baseline is defined as the low water line along the coast as officially recognized by the coastal state. And following that is the area of internal waters. What is this internal waters? Any place that is actually located landward from the baseline. If you see from this baseline to this particular landward area, this portion of the water is referred to as the internal water. Let us actually see the characteristic feature, whether the coastal state has sovereignty over it or not, whether it can exploit the resources or not, whether innocent passage is allowed here or not. All these we will see. So internal waters are located landward of the baseline, which we saw, and here the coastal state has full sovereignty similar to that of the land territory, and this can actually include the bays, the ports, the inlets, rivers and the lakes that are connected to the sea. And here no right of innocent passage for the foreign vessels, which basically means the foreign vessels can actually not traverse in this particular stretch of internal waters. Next, moving on, if you see from the baseline, next 12 nautical miles is actually measured to as the territorial sea. Okay, so here this extends to 12 nautical miles from the baseline, and here the coastal state actually has complete sovereignty over the water, the seabed, the subsoil as well as the airspace. This is very important. Moving forward, this allows innocent passage for the foreign vessels, which must not hamper any kind of peace or security to that of the state. So in that case, innocent passage is allowed. If you see the next 12 nautical miles, then that is referred to as this contiguous zone over here. Okay, here you will see the totally 24 nautical miles will actually be covered here. So this is the 12 nautical miles from the end of the territorial waters. So here extends from 12 to 24 nautical miles from the baseline, and this allows the coastal state to enforce laws concerning any kind of customs, any kind of taxation, immigration as well as pollution. And also jurisdiction is limited to the ocean surface and the floor, and it does not include airspace. This is very important. Then moving ahead, from the baseline up to 200 nautical miles is the exclusive economic zone, that you actually see it as EEZ, as all of you would have heard. Okay, so here the coastal state has a sovereign right for exploring, for exploiting as well as conserving and managing the natural resources of the seabed as well as the subsoil, if you see in this diagram. And this also includes the rights to produce energy from the water, the currents over there as well as the winds. And here the freedom of navigation is actually there, and also overflight for the other states are allowed with limited exceptions. And the final one is this area beyond 200 nautical miles. This is actually the global common, and this area is called as the high seas. So this is the area beyond the EEZ. It is considered international waters and it's a common heritage of all mankind. And moving forward, this is free for all the states to use for peaceful purposes, including navigation, for marine science as well as any kind of undersea exploration. So these are the divisions. And finally, we look into what is this particular independent judicial body of International Tribunal on the Laws of Seas. So this is an independent judicial body established by in 1982 UNCLOS, and it has the jurisdiction over any dispute that actually concerns the interpretation or the application of this particular convention. So this is actually a very short topic we have actually covered in today's live session. So for more such updates and live videos, please do like, share and subscribe to Narayana IAS Academy YouTube channel. Thank you.